Hey guys, so today we have a best of makeup 2020. I already did my worst of makeup 2020, which I'll put in the description. And that one was much shorter than this one. I have so many products that I loved this year. And I'm actually really happy about that. Like I said in my worst makeup of 2020 video, I don't buy things with the intention of disliking them. I know that's really good content. It's amazing content. But I always feel bad when I don't like something because I'm just like, ugh, I already spent money on you and now you're just staring me in the face, laughing at me. So I actually buy makeup with the intention of loving it. And I love a lot of makeup this year. I have 2 whole boxes of makeup that I really love, and I'm hoping you guys will love it too, and if you don't, then don't sue me. Here's Phoebe's Instagram and my TikTok. I've been posting on there and it's just really fun. It's been growing quite a lot. Like I'm on people's For You page. It's crazy. It's getting wild. So yeah, that's really fun. My Instagram got disabled. I'm trying to get it back. Instagram was basically just making me send them proof of ID because apparently I was reported for impersonating people. So aka like impersonating myself. People have too much time on their hands. Please find hobbies. Thank you. I'm probably going to start with Complexion product. I might go in like a semi-face order, but not completely. Colourpop sponges are the love of my life. I love you so much. This year, for some reason, decided to start using beauty blenders, like the official £20 a piece beauty blender. I used to try and get it, well, I tried when I was using it to get it on a sale, to get it in some kind of a set, kind of a deal. So they always came out a little bit cheaper, but never like super cheap. They were just kind of like, you know, like a sponge I'd have to throw away, but like I spent like 10 quid on it, so I was like, ugh. And then I bought the Full Beat set from Colourpop, which has 5 different sponges. There's this one, there's the Precision sponge, which is my favourite so far. This is the, I can't remember. Then they have the Velvet one, the Silicone one, and an Hourglass one. I've used 2 so far, this is my second one, and they're just so soft. They're not too porous, so you don't actually absorb much product, which is really nice, and they don't leave those weird dots on your face. They come in different shapes and you can buy them separately or together as the deal. The deal is cheaper, but if you have like a specific shape that you really like, then you can just buy one. And probably if I go through my whole Full Beat set, I'll just keep on buying the Precision sponge. That one was my favorite. It's got such a good shape. It's very convenient. They're super bouncy and they get super big. Like look how huge that is. It's just so quick and easy to do your makeup, and I love these sponges and I will never go and use a different sponge. That is a bold claim to make. I will never go back to the beauty blender is a claim that I can make with confidence. So far, these are my favorite. I used to use the Real Techniques ones, but I think they changed the formula and it's really bad. Well, is it a formula? Like the consistency, and it's really bad. It feels like you're slapping silicone on your face. These are affordable and good. That's that on that. For primers, I have 2 primers that I actually genuinely like. I think sometimes primers kind of, like they do something, but they don't really do much. And mainly when they're expensive, you're just kind of like, what are you actually bringing to the table? What are you doing here? And I finally found 2 that I really like. So the first one is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. One time I had like a travel size of it, which I got for free, and I bought it with me to Florida, which if you guys don't know, Florida humidity, it's really, you know, wild. And it actually made my makeup stay on, and my skin was still hydrated, but it was, you know, sticky and tacky, and I could like slap some makeup on and it looked really nice. So I bought it again and I've used up about this much of it. Like it's one of those airless pumps. I love it. The only thing is, don't use this one with the ABH Luminous Foundation. It starts to pill up, and no matter how you apply it, you know, brush, sponge, it just pills up. And someone said in my comments after I mentioned it that they now understand why they didn't like the Hydro Grip primer, because they were using it with the Luminous Foundation and it was pilling up for them, and then they tried it with something else, I'm assuming, and maybe they like it. I hope they like it. Don't use this with the Luminous Foundation. There are certain formulas that just don't mix well with this. Also, when you apply this, don't just go straight in with makeup. Wait for it to dry, like completely. Just wait for it to dry, give it like 5 minutes, go do something else, because this needs that tackiness. But if you start mixing it with the foundation, it kind of loses the whole like point of the primer. So like do this to your face and you don't feel any cold, like wet. That's when you're ready to apply, and then it'll be like really tacky and it will just like grab the makeup. My second primer favorite is kind of surprising because I've been on like the dewy luminous kick all 2020 and some of 2019, but this has been a lovely surprise. Actually, it keeps my makeup looking like I can kind of, let me just show it to you guys. It's the No Filter Primer from Colourpop. So it kind of mattifies your face, but in like a very subtle way. And it kind of blurs it because it's mattifying it. It's taking away some of the texture, and then you can apply makeup on top and then add highlight and make it more dewy. But this kind of applies that really nice base that just smooths your face out. I really like this. For complexion products this year, I could put in, you know, the Pat McGrath foundation. I was only using it for a few months and then I just kind of like started trying other things out. So that one is a contender. It's one of my favorites, but it's also very expensive. And I haven't been using it for that long, and I haven't used it in a few months. It's like a really good foundation, but if we're talking about which foundations or skin products have really been used by me all year, like non-stop since I got them. It's, well, the first one is the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Foundation. I'm only holding up one of the shades. As you guys know, I got the wrong shade and I'm mixing it with a different shade. But this is so good. You can apply a very thin layer of this, or you can layer it up and it doesn't cake up. It doesn't look bad. You could apply the thickest layer of this and your skin will somehow still just look like skin. It's incredible. It's just such a good foundation. It's pretty fresh is probably the best way I'd describe the way this looks. It just looks fresh. It doesn't look too dewy. It doesn't look matte. It doesn't look drying or cakey. It just looks fresh. It's like your skin's just fresh. You really don't need a lot of this. I feel like sometimes when I first got it, I would apply way too much. You really only need about one whole pump of this and that's it. And that's already like a full beat. If you want like a more natural look, half a pump, it's probably good. And the second thing is what I'm wearing today. People have mixed opinions on this. I am in love with it, but you have to kind of go into it with a certain kind of expectation of what coverage you're getting. If you go in expecting a full beat, you're going to be disappointed. The Glossy Perfecting Skin Tint is the only thing that works for me when I'm going through my very dry phases. I've tried other things, and even like my Pat McGrath foundation, even foundations that I really, really enjoy, if I'm going through one of my dry skin phases, they just don't look good, and it's never a good skin day. This is the only thing that I've been using kind of like in the winter time. I will, to be fair, the Pretty Fresh foundation is one of the only full coverage-ish foundations that actually looks good when I'm going through my tricky skin phase. But this is unbeatable. This you can apply in 2.5 seconds. You literally I just go line, 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 a little bit on my forehead, and I blend it out with a sponge. You can blend it out with your hands, brush, anything. It looks really good, and it just gives your skin like a fresh look. I think this is my second or third bottle of this. It's super liquidy, as you can hear. It's just really good. You can apply it literally if you're not even wearing any other makeup, but you just want like your skin to get a tint. This is literally a perfecting skin tint. If you just want a tint, just apply it. Slap on lip gloss, maybe an eyebrow gel, and you're good to go. To kind of go with the perfecting skin tint, but also I've been using this with pretty much all of my makeup. I haven't used a different concealer for, well, I've been using this one for 99% of the year. Every now and then I used a different concealer, but that was just because maybe I was filming a video to do with a different concealer, or, you know, whatever it was. But just in my everyday life, I use this. And I think this is my second one this year. And I think it's my third one overall, or my second, I can't remember. It's the Glossy Stretch Concealer. I have both the Skin Tint and the Stretch Concealer in G11. I have them in the same shade. So I'm wearing under my eyes today and just all over wherever I had blemishes. So what I do is, if I'm wearing the Perfecting Skin Tint, I'll take this, I'll go in under my eyes on any redness and any spots. And then I go in with the Perfecting Skin Tint over the top, and it kind of just blends everything together. It looks really nice, natural. You can't tell that I'm wearing any complexion products, if that makes sense. Like, you can tell I'm wearing blush and bronzer, but you can't tell if I'm wearing foundation or not. This is amazing. I am basically almost done with it. It melts pretty much the moment you put your finger to it. I recommend applying it to your face with your fingers because it melts so much better, and then you can blend it out with a sponge once you've kind of got it where you want it. A close second that I don't have with me right now because it's in my drawers, but just thought of it. The Pat McGrath Concealer is amazing. It's got much more coverage. It's a typical like wand applicator, but it's so good. It looks just like skin. It's amazing. So that one is like a close second, but if I had to really pick like one concealer for this year that like stood out, because concealers usually don't stand out to me. They're just kind of like, you either work or you don't. The Stretch Concealer stands out to me, and the Pat McGrath Concealer also stands out to me. I never really get excited over powder, mainly when it's translucent powder or loose setting powder. I think most of them, if they're not awful, then they're good. So I don't really have any favorites. I guess I've been using the Colourpop loose setting powder. I've just bought a backup, so I guess that speaks volumes. Glossy Wilder, that one's quite good. But to be fair, like if you did half your face with the like Wilder and half with the Colourpop, you wouldn't really tell the difference. You wouldn't tell the difference between that one and a different one. Like I said, unless a loose powder is really bad, then it's probably good and you're not going to tell the difference between that one and a different one. However, the thing that I have been enjoying this year is the Pat McGrath Labs, and you can tell I've been enjoying it because half of the writing is wiped off. I love this thing. This is the Pat McGrath Labs. Oh my god, the whole back's wiped off. It's basically their pressed powder. I have it in the shade Light, which isn't light at all. It's basically translucent. You can tell how much I've hit pan on this thing. It's messy. This is so beautiful. So beautiful. If you want your skin to look not super matte, not super powdery, not like you've actually set it with the powder, but more so that your skin's just naturally balanced and not too oily and not too dry, then this is the powder for you. This is an under eye powder. Well, that's what it says. It's like an Oh, I almost dropped it. I almost dropped it. This says it's an under eye setting powder. I use it all over my face. It's quite expensive for how much you get. So if you want to just use under your eyes, fair enough. I do use it all over my face just to set if I'm not using a loose setting powder. This basically works a similar way. It's super softly pressed, so you get quite a bit of product. Can you see that? You get quite a bit of kick up. The light is basically just translucent, but I'm not sure how this would look on deeper skin tones. I know they have deeper shades, so I don't know if this is actually translucent, but it basically looks translucent on me. It's so soft, it's so finely milled and then pressed beautifully. It's just an amazing powder. It's got a slight luminosity to it. If you look at it kind of under lights, it's got a slight luminosity to it, so that's why it gives it that like not super powdery or matte finish. And I've been really loving this powder. I basically rediscovered it in my collection pretty recently and I was just like, where have you been? The next one is a powder that I use kind of as a finishing powder, which is basically its whole job. It's what you use to finish off makeup. I use it right after I powder my face, but before I do bronzer, blush, everything, but you can use it after bronzer, blush, highlight to like blend everything together. It's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. I have it in the shade Diffuse Light. They have like, I don't know, like 6 to 8 shades, something like that. This is one of the lightest ones they have. It's, as you can tell, it's got quite a bit of luminosity, but it doesn't come out glittery or shimmery on your face. It doesn't add too much shine unless you really pile it on, because if you pile it on, it's going to look a bit strange. But if you just do a very light dusting all over your face, it brings back some of that luminosity that you lost through powdering without making your skin oily and greasy. It's been a staple on YouTube for a pretty long time. I mean, people have been hyping this product up for a while. You can't tell anything. I don't know why I haven't swatched it, but it's just super finely milled. It looks amazing. It doesn't add any powderiness to your skin, but it gives it that life back. The last one is a backup, so I haven't opened this yet because I'm trying to get through other powders that I've been kind of like trying to use, which were supposed to be dupes for this, but they're not. I haven't found many that are dupes for this, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Complexion Perfecting Micro Powder, and I'd say that's a perfect description of what it is. It's a perfecting micro powder. It's super finely milled. It's so soft to the touch. It's almost wet to the touch. Like, that's how soft it is. I use it under my eyes, and I use it on any blemishes that are peeking through or any redness that are peeking through my makeup once I've set it. It kind of just adds extra coverage. It's such an amazing powder. I think the closest thing that's come to this is the Kalydos powder in like the contour set that they have. But this one, unbeatable. So far, I haven't found anything that is remotely close to this. And this is my backup, and I've been so tempted to just open it and use it, but I have like 2 powders kind of like along these lines opened, one from Nabla and one from Jouer. They're not this, but I have to use them up before I open this. That's the rule. Now we start getting into bronzers, blushes, highlights. I found this pretty recently. This is from Huda Beauty. It's the Tantor, so she has these like cream contour bronzer type things, and this one's in the shade Fair. I believe this is the lightest shade she had. It's not extremely light, so if you're fairer than me, then this might be a little bit too deep for you, but to be fair, this blends out super well, so if you apply the tiniest bit, you might get away with it. So it looks like this. It's like such a perfect shade. It's kind of like a Tantor, so it kind of bronzes and contours at the same time. It's not too cool, it's not too warm, but it's like that perfect shade. This you can go overboard with. Like, please dip into this gently because you're gonna be in for a shock. But this blends out like nothing in the world. Oh my god, it blends out so well. It's got such an amazing finish. It's not matte, but it's not super oily, dewy. So it's kind of like, you don't have to set it, but you can. It's in that perfect in between. It's such a good product, and it blends out so well. I'm wearing it today under just regular bronzer. So I do my complexion, I go in with this, and then I set my face and I go in with regular bronzer, and I just think it just does a thing for me. Because I remember everyone used to be obsessed with the Chanel Tan de Soleil, but that one literally has 1 shade. Like, who is that gonna work for? Well, like one group of people. My next one is a powder bronzer, and this one I've been using pretty much all year because I've been using it since I started my project pan, and it's basically almost finished, and it is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Such a good bronzer. Everything about this is perfection. I like the scent. Some people don't like it. It reminds me of like holidays. It's like coconutty and very nice. It blends like a dream. It's not too matte, it's not dewy. It's got a bit of shine to it without any glitter. It's just such a good bronzer, and look how little I have of it left. That's just like it in the middle, and then it will be done. Very good bronzer. I love this, and it's pretty affordable. I have 3 categories of blushes. With me, blushes are not about the shade. Like, I don't have a favorite shade because I switch out my shades every day. It's about the formula. So I'm going to show you examples of shades, but they're not, it's not like that's the only shade that I like from the collection. Just pick any shade from that formula. I hope that makes some sense. Colourpop powder blushes. Incredible. So good. They don't look powdery. They have a bunch of different shades and they have them in all sorts of limited editions, limited collections. And they have like their regular line. I mean, you can just find any shade that you really like. This is from their recent collection. It's called Secret Crush Pressed Powder Blush and it's such a beautiful shade. Look at it. It's like the perfect pink. My next favorite formula is from Odin's Eye. I've been raving about these. Obviously, I haven't mentioned them in a while because, like I said, I've been trying a bunch of blushes and it's hard to mention things over and over again. But this is the Flower Blush. So they have a shimmery formula and then they have a matte formula. So both are incredible. Blendable, pigmented, amazing. They have amazing shade ranges from deep to light. Just pick whichever formula you like. I prefer the shimmery formula, but like I said, the matte is just as good. I just like shimmery blushes. This is my favorite shade. This is the one I really like, but obviously my skin tone not applicable to everyone. Water Lily. This formula is amazing. It's so pigmented. It's so blendable while also being pigmented. I love these. These have been a good find this year. And this do I have to tell you guys what I've been sent in PR and what I haven't? Because if I have to, then let me go back. Hold on. No. So Charlotte Tilbury didn't send me this in PR, but they send me stuff in PR now. Like I'm on the PR list now, but I bought this, if that counts. I have a code with Glossier. Let me disclose that. And I think that's it. Okay, this I've been sent in PR by Odin's Eye and I have a code with them as well. So there's my disclosing for the legal stuff. Almost forgot about that. For another powder product from Hourglass, I love their blushes. I never get them separately. I always get them in these palettes. But of course you can just get them separately and then they have a much wider variety of shades. They have them in travel sizes and big sizes. I'd recommend getting travel size. I think as much as it's not like a good deal gram per like pound, but it's just like, how often do you get through a blush? My favorite one from these two obviously is this one because it's much lighter than this one. I think this one's quite badam. This one that I really like is called Sublime Flush and they recently actually came out with this, well earlier this year they came out with this in a single because everyone liked it from this palette. So if you want this one, they have it in a single now. It's called Sublime Flush and this one's called Iridescent Rose. And this one's a strobe blush and this one's just a regular blush. So this one has more highlight to it and this one has less highlight to it. But they're both very highlighty. When I apply this blush, I really don't need to apply highlight if I don't want to, but I want to. These are so finely milled, so soft. I mean, you can tell just how luminous these are and just how finely milled they are. Beautiful. You can literally not tell if they're powder or not. Like there's no powderiness to these whatsoever. There's just luminosity and that's what I want from a blush. I'm wearing the Sublime Flush today. This is what it looks like. Just in case anyone needed reference, here's your reference. And then my last favorite formula is Colourpop Super Shock blushes. I actually hit pan on this one and I got it not actually too long ago. I've just been using it a lot. This one's from the Candyland Collection. It's in the shade Gummy More. And I've hit pan on it. Look how shimmery this is. This one definitely has more chunky shimmer going through it. You can get this formula, the Super Shock blushes, in a matte formula. You can get it in a shimmery formula. You can get it in a more glittery formula. So you don't have to get this specific shade. Like I said, just go on the website and see what kind of suits you. But they do have these in matte if you don't like shimmery blushes. But look how shiny this is. Oh my god, it's such a perfect shade for me as well. This is such a good formula. If you guys don't know, this is like a bouncy, not cream, not powder formula that Colourpop does for everything pretty much. They do it for blushes, eyeshadows, highlights. I don't think they do it for bronzers just yet, but I think that would be a move. Please make that happen. Colourpop, please. So those are my favorite blushes. Let's go into highlights. I actually don't have many highlights because I find highlight is kind of like a either looks good or it doesn't. I guess that's all makeup, isn't it? Honorary mentions, Kalydos highlighters. I'm gonna pick up the whole tin. I have every single shade they have and they're just amazing. There's 3 different formulas. There's like a very smooth formula. There's like a regular in-between formula and then there's like a chunky glitter formula. All amazing. Just pick whichever shade you like. They have pretty crazy shades, like pretty out there shades. It's just amazing. I really, really like them. The highlight that is definitely my absolute favorite. If I got rid of all of my highlights and only was left with this one, I would be content with life. That's how emotional this collection is for me. The Colourpop Super Shock highlight in You're a Trip, but of course pick whatever shade you like. They all work the same way because it's the same formula. It's just You're a Trip is my perfect highlight shade. It's the perfect in between of pink and champagne and gold. It's just not too dark for me, not too light for me. I don't like icy frosty highlights anymore. You can tell this one isn't icy frosty, but it's not too deep for me. This formula is everything that dreams are made of. You can apply it with a sponge, you can apply it with a brush, you can apply it with your fingers. I've been applying it with my fingers recently and it's really good. Look at that. It doesn't look powdery. It looks amazing. This is my favorite highlight of the year. It's the highlight of my year. So for brows, I've been enjoying, so I used to use the ABH Brow Wiz and that was very expensive for what it was. I used to use it up really quickly. So then I found out that Colourpop has one of those skinny pencils as well and it's really good. I don't have it right now and I'm going through a lot of brow products. I didn't repurchase it. I recently also bought the Brow Boss Gel. It's really good. Really great. There's the Glossy Boy Brow. They all work really well. I like the Boy Brow and I like the Brow Boss. But brow products are kind of like, once again, they're not that exciting. But recently, I was sent this in PR from Lottie London. It's called Arch Rival. And I thought this was kind of a gimmick when I tried it out. And I'm wearing it today. And I think this is amazing. If you don't have super sparse brows, if you have quite full brows, this is amazing. Because it just gently fills little gaps in. So it's one of those that has like the 3 prongs on it. So good. I haven't tried too many eyeliners this year, but the ones that stand out to me are the Colourpop Gel Liners. I have them in more natural shades like blacks, browns, dark greens. I guess that's kind of a natural shade. And I have them in these pastel shades and I have them in pretty colourful shades like yellows and oranges and pinks. These, whatever colour family you pick, whether it's pastels or colourful or natural, they just work really well. They're super creamy, super like just nice. They don't tug on your eyes. They're just really good and they're quite affordable. So there's that. Let's quickly do lip products. That's pretty exciting. Now lip products are something I'm really obsessed with. I switch it up literally every day. I don't use the same product over and over again, but I have a few favorites. Colourpop Just a Tint. Amazing, fantastic, fabulous. Everything dreams are made of. Some people don't like the scent, but I think if you can get past the scent, the formula is amazing. It's a hybrid between a lipstick and a lip gloss. You can apply it without a lip liner, with a lip liner. It just looks so good. My favorite shade is Gimme Small, but obviously pick whatever you want. This one's like a really nice nude shade. I like Colourpop lip liners. I think they're comparable to the Kylie ones. They're like that glidey formula, not the wooden like tuggy formula, but like the glidey. So it just depends on what you prefer. One of my favorites is the Colourpop Lippie pencil in Cool BFF, which came out with the That's Taupe collection. It's like a cool toned brownie shade. I'm wearing it today with a lipstick on top. Very nice. With that same collection came the ultra glossy lip in Rattler, which is just like a beautiful cool toned mauvey pink and it's just so good. And then the last Colourpop product that I tried recently and I've been loving the formula. I mean, I already know I love it and I'm going to use it pretty much like all 2021, is the Velvet formula from Colourpop. This is in the shade Room Service. It's just such a beautiful like brownie orangey shade. It's very beautiful, but the Velvet formula is so good. It's very similar to their ultra blotted lip. I think this is actually less drying and less clingy to the lips. This is what I'm wearing today on top of the lipstick. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick in Velvet. It's a matte lipstick. It's one of those that has like the like texture on it that makes it look super like matte. The shade's beautiful. It's super cool toned and I've just been really enjoying it. This is a pretty new release from them and it kind of went under the radar. My next favorite is this formula. It's incredible and this is my favorite shade from it, but obviously just pick whichever shade you like. It's in Little Jasmine. It's from Odin's Eye and it's their like pigmented gloss that they have. They also have stains, but I prefer this glossy formula. You can apply it pretty like gently or in like a pigmented way, but this is what it looks like. It's just super glossy and pigmented. You can apply it on top of lip liner or just on its own depending on kind of what look you're going for, but this is an amazing formula and the scent, so good. I have some newer stuff. So Charlotte Tilbury sent me, oh, and Odin's Eye is in PR. And then Charlotte Tilbury's in PR as well. So these lip glosses that they recently released, these are, I don't know what they're called, but they're this packaging. They came out pretty recently. This is in the shade Opal Magic. I also have Blushed Gold. It's like a super shimmery formula and these are my favorite lip gloss of the year. I didn't think I had a favorite lip gloss because lip glosses are kind of like, I mean, they work, they're shiny, whatever. As long as they're not stringy, I don't mind it. But this is my favorite lip gloss formula. Just the amount of shimmer that's in here, the shades they picked, the formula, all together just makes for such a glossy, beautiful look. It just plumps up your lips immediately without actually being a plumping lip gloss. This is my favorite lip gloss of the year. And then they also recently sent me this, which is, oh my god, it quickly became one of my favorites. I use this all the time. I use this in some videos. I've tried all the shades, so you've probably seen them in videos. This is their recent like sheer lipstick formula that they have. It's super glossy and they just picked like popular shades that they had. So for example, this is Pillow Talk. It's in like a lip balm packaging, you basically just twist it up, but you can't untwist it, so just be careful with that. And it's a super nourishing, it's still pigmented, don't get me wrong. You can apply this gently, you can apply it full force, but look how glossy and beautiful this is. I love this formula. It's so nourishing. It doesn't dry out your lips, but it still gives you pigment, and you can either like blot it on, or you can go full out over a lip liner and then make it look like a lipstick, or you can just, without a lip liner, just kind of dot it on and it will look like a little tint. Such a good formula. And then my last favorite is from Pat McGrath. So she's very well known for her like matte lipsticks. They used to be all the rage because they were so pigmented. And this came out with her Christmas collection. So then this is in the shade Omi, and it's such a beautiful pink. It's so good. I love this formula. It's super matte, but it's not drying. It just looks super like powdery on the lips, which I kind of love that effect as long as it doesn't dry out my lips. I also bought it in the shade Elson, which is such a beautiful red. Just look at it. Such a true red. So that's the duo I got. They're still selling them on the website, I think. They have like a pink duo, and then they have this duo, which this is definitely my favorite. Now moving into the really exciting stuff. Well, that was also very exciting, but this is all my eye products. Let's start with mascara. Let's just get it out of the way. My favorite lash primer this year is the Kvd Lash Primer. It's not white, it's like a dark grey, but it basically comes out black on your eyelashes. This is almost finished because I've been using it so much that it's pretty much dry, but this is what it looks like. See, when I curl my lashes, they drop down immediately because they're kind of heavy. So this, basically I curl one eye, I put on the lash primer, then I curl the other eye, put on lash primer, and it keeps the curl right there, and then I can just apply mascara on top. Make sure you put a very thin layer of this. Don't do like a thick layer, just do like a one even coating without any clumps, and then the mascara that you put on top will just stick to the lash primer. It's so good. For favorite mascaras, I have a few picks. These are ones I've tried throughout the year. So my first one is the Glossy Lash Slick. This is my second or third of this. People also kind of like don't understand this product. I use this basically on those days where I don't want it to look like I'm wearing makeup, because I'm just kind of like rushing out the house, doing just things that don't require a lot of makeup. Not that anything requires makeup, just do it for fun. But this, if you apply a thin layer of it, it basically looks like you just tinted your eyelashes and that they're just like long naturally. This is very good. It doesn't thicken your eyelashes, it just makes them long and black, and that's sometimes just what I need. My second one that I tried is the Hourglass Caution. I only have the travel size. I used up the big one and I'm not buying any mascaras until I'm finished with a few of these. But the Hourglass Caution mascara is so good. It's thickening, it's lengthening, it's chef's kiss, beautiful. The ABH Lash Brag, super good. Oh my god, it's an amazing formula. It thickens, it separates, it lengthens, it just does what it needs to do. I love the brush on it. It's just really good. So this is one of my favorites. And then the last one is a pretty recent find. It's the Huda Beauty mascara, and I thought I'd hate this because it has a plastic wand, which I'm not too crazy about. But the things this does to lashes, oh my god, please be careful with this because it will make your lashes look clumpy and crazy if you go overboard. I don't even use my lash primer with this because I think it's just too much. You basically have to do 2 layers, which is why I don't do the lash primer. I don't like doing too many layers. So they have the volume and they have the curl and the length. So you do curl and length first and then volume, or the other way around. I don't know if it really matters. So the curl and the length is like this short, stubby, curved one, and then the volume is like this super aggressive looking one. But the things this does to your lashes, if you have short, non-existent lashes, please try this out and let me know what you think, because I think this is a really good mascara. For single eyeshadows, I don't buy many, but the ones I buy are kind of like a special formula. So Colourpop Super Shock Shadows. I recently started getting into buying the singles of this. I usually just get them in palettes because they've started putting them into eyeshadow palettes, but now I have a bunch in like singles, which is really good for travel. If we ever go back to traveling, that'll be a fun time. One of my favorites is the Super Shock Shadow in Ritz. These also come in many different formulas. They have like the ultra glitter, then they have the metallics, and they come in different variations of shimmer and shine. This is an ultra glitter, so it's super like chunky and it just fell out. No, I knew something was up with it because it was like starting to lift a little bit. Maybe I just left it open. I'll press it back in. Maybe I'll even hydrate it with something like my Duraline or something. I don't know. Oh my god, I have to be super careful with this one now. So this is, I'm gonna be very gentle with this. This is the shade Ritz from the That's Taupe collection. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is what it looks like. It's just like a cool toned, beautiful, yummy. It's very yummy. Then recently I bought this set. So they had for Cyber Monday this set of 9 Super Shock Shadows, and they're so beautiful. This is like, you can't even see it. It's like a icy pink. This is in the shade Frog. They have matte ones, they have shimmery ones, they have shiny ones. Just such a good thing. If you don't really buy too many eyeshadow palettes, you can literally just buy 1 or 2 of these and then just like put bronzer in your crease and then slap one of these on the lid and it just looks amazing. My next favourites are from Charlotte Tilbury. Charlotte Tilbury has been a very good find this year. I think I was always turned off by the prices because she's very pricey. It's so good. I don't think I've tried anything that I was like, ugh, bad. These are really good. So these were sent to me in PR. I have the shades Pillow Talk and Walk of No Shame in these like pot jewel eyes. I think they're called the Jewel Eyes something. They're very good. They're basically just like a pot shimmery shadow. You can do like a one eyeshadow, like one swipe look with these. Very easy to layer up. So you can do like a sheer wash or you can do like a more pigmented wash. This is just very pretty and very shiny and shimmery. So if you kind of like the no effort makeup, then this is really good. I really like these. I was also sent this palette, which, okay, if you've ever tried Charlotte Tilbury's quads and you were disappointed, give the big palette a chance because the formula on those is amazing. I have the palette from this Christmas called Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize, and I saw this on sale on Cult Beauty, I believe, recently. So maybe it's still on sale. This is the color choice. You have them in these like trios, right? So you have like the light brown, the pink burgundy, the purple pink, and then this like brown. This formula is so good. The matte eyeshadows really are incredible. They're so like smooth and buttery but blendable but pigmented. They're just so good. And these metallics are amazing. I used all of these pretty much and they're just so good. The metallics are just so pigmented, so creamy, so buttery. I am pleasantly surprised with this palette. It's just so good. And if you can get it on a sale, I think it's a good deal. My next favourite was sent to me recently by Charlotte Tilbury. I keep on repeating myself because you have to disclose it. I don't want to get called out by the FTC. They're the Flawless Eye Filter Luxury Palette. So they're okay, let me just describe it to you because I think this formula is probably going to be a bit misunderstood. It's a soft focus glow filter for bigger, brighter movie star eyes. Wow. So basically, I'd say that this formula reminds me of baked products rather than pressed powder products. If you guys don't know the difference, most powder products are pressed and then they're like a little bit looser and you can like see the powder kick up, and then some powder products are baked and they're super like stiff and hard. These remind me of like baked formulas. So you get these like 4 shimmery shades. You can't tell like what the shades are. Then they have this one. Oh, this one's stunning. So basically I create whole looks with this without any brushes. I just use my fingers. So like I'll go into one of these and then just slap it on my eyes. They're not super shimmery shiny and they also have different formulas. So some are more shimmery, some are less shimmery, some are quite matte actually. But this is what they look like. They're just an effortless eye. I've been wearing these a lot in videos recently. So if you've been seeing something along these lines, it was probably this. Hear me out. I think these are like £43. I would get them on a sale, or if you don't have £43 burning a hole in your pocket, then maybe you'd want to buy like a bigger palette with this. That's like a much bigger like deal for you. But if you have £43 that you just want to spend on something, then these are really stunning. They're just like that natural, like, you know, I literally just grab these and I put them on my eye and they just are so effortless. You don't really, you know, they're just good. They're not super chunky, so if you don't like chunky glitter, this might be really nice for you. And yeah, they're just like a very interesting formula. I was very pleasantly surprised with these. My next thing is like a category of eyeshadow palettes. This is the first year that I've tried Colourpop. I know they've been very popular on the internet for a while and I'm pretty late to the party, but Colourpop eyeshadow palettes, mainly the 9-pan palettes, are some of my favorites this year. I reach for them pretty much every time I do my makeup. I mainly use these, like I'll do like a matte look with this or add a bit of shimmer from here and then go into something else. They're just so versatile. One of my favorites is That's Taupe. This came out recently and it's like a cool toned palette. This is a Super Shock shadow and then these are all shimmers and then you can have like the lighter shades on top, deeper shades on bottom. It's just such a cohesive palette. I love these 9-pans and I would recommend if you want like a concise color story, then just these are incredible. And kind of like what I said, if I use like matte shades from one eyeshadow palette, I like to go into Pat McGrath Blitz Astrals, and of course you get Blitz Astrals, like her special formula, in her big mothership palettes, but they're the last 4 shades in the palette. So if you don't care about the metallics and the mattes, it's kind of a waste of money to get the big mothership palettes. But last Christmas she came out with her Blitz Astral quads and I have all of them and they're my favorite thing. Okay, so there's this one, which is just beautiful. It's got like this blue turquoisey shade, this green, purple, and a yellow gold. Then there's this one, which is actually my favorite, as you'll probably be able to tell why, because of the pinks. This shade right here is super chunky glittery, and you will get a lot of fallout if you don't put glue on, but it is such a perfect shade. It goes from pretty much just like yellow gold to baby pink, and it's so stunning. There's a yellow gold, there's like a coppery shade, which is so stunning, and then just like a hot pink. And then this one has been surprising to me, because I didn't think I'd like it, and I almost didn't get it, but I think for wintertime, this is perfect palette. This here, stunning. This here, stunning. There's this like coppery gold, it's beautiful. And then there's this one, which is so beautiful. This looks like the most boring shade out of the palette, but it's easily the most interesting on the eyes. So if you can get these on some kind of a sale or in some kind of a set on sale, they're really good. I recently also tried this, which used to be hyped up on the internet so much. I remember Tati used to basically just like rave about these, and I know since then they've started going in like a very different, like more customer consumer based direction, but they used to make really like MUA type makeup, and it's very expensive. But I got this on a Black Friday sale for about like 40 something pounds, and it's such a good formula. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the Viseart, still in like the plastic packaging. I know some people think this looks very cheap, but actually the plastic's built really well. It's like not flimsy or anything, it's really good. I have the Neutral Matte 01, and it's basically got transition shades on top, warm / neutral in the middle, and then neutral / cool toned on the bottom. Basically everything I need. What I do now, every time I use a different eyeshadow palette, I incorporate this somehow. Today I didn't, I just used the That's Taupe palette, but normally, if I go into like a Pat McGrath Mothership palette, because they go quite deep, she doesn't put a lot of mattes in her palettes, usually there's about 2 or 3, and they're quite deep. For me, they're not really easy to blend out because I'm pretty fair, so I'll just add one of these and use the transition shades. This is a staple now. I like this a lot, and I didn't think I would. I was kind of like, what can you bring to the table? But quite clearly a lot. This has basically just got all my basics in it. Now onto indie brands, which is always very exciting. I tried this year, so Kalydos Futurism palettes. Like open it like this, and then like this, and it's a 6-pan. These are beautiful. So this is from their most recent collection, and this is called Sashimi City. And they have the purple one they came out with. I have like 6 of these, and they're just beautiful. These shimmer shades are so special, and like the matte eyeshadows are so blendable. They're so like finely milled and so just perfect, like such a perfect formula. I love these so much. They're so compact as well, and the color stories are always super interesting. They're always like, they take shades that are quite popular and then they make them into something really interesting, and I really like that about these. And the packaging is like that soft touch thing. And then the last thing I have in my box, I've been filming for 52 minutes, is Oden's Eye. Love this formula. It's such a good find for this year. Oden's Eye as a whole brand is just incredible. So I have the 3 big palettes. They also sent me the small ones, but I prefer the big ones. I like the color stories on these the most. So I have the Soul Main palette, which is just this one. This purple here is stunning. It's incredible. It's beautiful. This shimmer shade here, stunning. This one up top, stunning. The mattes in this are incredible. The shimmers also incredible. This is my favorite palette out of all of them. Literally out of all of them that they sent me. This is my favorite color story. This is my second favorite. It is the Alva, and it's pink, pinky, mauvey, yellowy. I love this shade down here, and this one. This one's my favorite shimmer shade. It goes from like purple to pink to bluey. This one up here is stunning. Just an amazing palette, honestly. And the pans are much smaller, so you get not a huge palette, but with quite a lot of shades. And then the last one is their most recent release called the Alva 2, and it's a colourful palette, and it is also stunning. It has 2 pressed glitters, so if you don't like pressed glitters, then don't get this one, get the other ones. But the pressed glitter formula on these is one of the best I've tried. It actually sticks to the eyes, which is amazing. They have these like more cool toned shades over here and more warm tone over here, so you can do both warm and cool. And I think the colour story is just super interesting on these. Formula, incredible. Such an amazing indie brand, and that was sent to me in PR. And I do have a code. And I think that's it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, including your favourite products of 2020. Subscribe because I post videos every time I think of something to do. Hit that bell to be notified when that's happening. Social media links and everything else in the description. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.